Alright, hello friends and welcome. There's the game. It's been slow the past couple of times. Hello friends and welcome. My name's Popeye, and today we're playing some more Higurashi, Chapter 7, Minagoroshi, or the Massacre Arc. And if the name Massacre Arc doesn't let you know that there's going to be some murders and stuff going on, then maybe these trigger warnings will. So this game has a fair number of trigger warnings, including but not limited to death, dismemberment, torture, rape, child abuse, body horror, suicide, self-mutilation, any of those things against a minor, blood gore. Any of that's not for you, please, by all means, find some place that you'd rather spend your time this evening. If you are sticking around, welcome. It's been a while. I took the last 2 Fridays off for some family stuff, so I think it's been 3 weeks since we last streamed Higurashi. And I'm going to be missing, there's a couple streams that I'll have to miss on Fridays in the future for some other family stuff. So what that will mean is some of the Higurashi streams, which are typically Fridays this time block, will be moved to Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time to help make up for it. And there might be some makeup streams later, just to make up for these lost streams. All right. So first of all, Samus's. When did you become a Sith Lord? And you should stop that. You should stop becoming a Sith Lord. It's probably not good for you. Second of all, what crazy powers do you have? Do I want to know? I don't know if I do. Alright, I will read it out loud. By the way, is my mic and the closed captions any better? This might be a good test of the closed captions. I asked Beardy for some help with the closed caption stuff, and he gave me an idea which... hopefully, the closed captions now include all my audio filters, which should make them better. So this might be a good test. Samus's has subscribed for 22 months, which is an unreasonable amount. Almost 2 years. Can't believe it's been almost 2 years. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth MDS the Wise? I thought not. It's not a story the YouTube would tell you. It's a Twitch legend. Darth MDS was a Dark Lord of the Twitch, so powerful and so wise, he could influence the bank accounts to create subs. He had such a knowledge of the dark side that he could even keep the ones he cared about from being unsubbed. The dark side of Twitch is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. He became so powerful he ran out of text. Captions aren't working. Let me take a quick check. Source. Okay, I see the problem with that. How about now? I'm not sure if you'll have to refresh the page. Let me just double check. Yeah. See if it's better now. For whatever reason, it hadn't saved that I'd switched over to a new mic setting. Because basically what I did is I mirrored my mic settings. Oh, is it? I wonder. Let me test something. Is it going to be on a scene-by-scene basis? No. Okay. Is it better now? You tell me. I've changed the captions. I can't actually see what the captions are, just that they're enabled, they're pointing to the right audio source, and that they're trying to do English. That's what I can see on my end. Using the same settings I had before, just changing the audio source. So hopefully that's working. Alright, I said I would give you a rundown of what happened last time, and I will, although, in all honesty, I forget. Okay, maybe it doesn't work because stream had already started. We'll have to check next time then. That is unfortunate, though. But yeah, what happened last time? We're continuing to follow Rika and Hanyu. as they try and go about making this world into the world of miracles that they've dreamed about for the past several hundred years. No. Not restarting stream so you can what do you mean resub? It's been 7 minutes. 8 minutes now. So we've been following her, and it goes into a lot about some things that we didn't know. One, that the disease in the 6th game, there is some kind of disease. They haven't fully gone into it, but what we do know is it's a disease that makes people go crazy and kill people. But it can be halted with certain medications, and there's tiers to it. I think it's, if you hit tier 4 or level 4, that's when you start killing people. 1 and 2, they don't really go into much detail. If you hit 3, that's like the point of no return. That it can't be like cured at that point, only suppressed. It seems like 1 and 2 can be cured? ? They vaguely say that it might be able to. If a Popeye pops, it's actually a pie. No, it's a pop. Hello, Hat. How's it going? So there's this disease. It has different stages of it, and Satoko is at stage 3, which is the point of no return, and she has been going to the clinic for at least years, every Sunday morning, where she gets an injection, and we find out that she's been giving herself daily injections, sometimes twice or thrice daily injections of this drug that helps suppress. But Satoko doesn't know this. She doesn't know that she has a disease. She just thinks she's part of clinical testing and that they're giving her money for it, which is probably true. They're probably doing some testing on her results as well, on her blood and other stuff. They have her do like a memory test, an IQ test, this kind of stuff, and they compare it from time to time. So it is probably true that they are doing some research off her. But that's not the main reason that she's going. And then Hanyu and Rika walk through some of the past things they've tried and that haven't worked, which includes basically having a full squadron of armored guards defend them, and she still dies anyways. What she is going to do differently this time is talk to the 2 people who always seem to die, the photographer and the nurse, and try and keep them safe. Because in her mind, if they can stay safe, she can stay safe. And they said that they've tried this in the past. They've tried to keep them safe. They've tried to talk to them. It hasn't worked, but they're going to try again this time, just because of all the stuff that has happened that has changed Otherworld lines. And with that, we'll load in. So I think this ends just after we had talked to the 2 of them. And we're now with the doctor. I can't remember, honestly, what we're here for, or if we even know at this point. So we're just going to dive right in. By pressing wrong buttons. There we go. Yurie turned the light on as soon as he finished his presentation. There were about 8 men wearing lab coats inside the meeting room. The man sitting at the far end was the only person without one. Upon seeing Yurie finish his speech, he clapped his hands several times. Having noticed his applause, the other men in the room soon followed suit. Okay. We just have a new person, so we're going to take a look at all of their... Okay. So, we can't see it on this one, but on this one, written on his card, it says Visitor, Infectious Disease Surveillance, Charter, Center, and then I can't read the two lines underneath it. So some kind of infectious disease response center.
本当によかった。この度の成果は個人的にもとても満足できるところです。
入江先生の献身的努力の賜物ですわ。
Now, important right here. Tomitake, the one my hand is covering, here's the rest of his face. He's the photographer. And yet, here he is clearly in a very different position.
いえいえ、優秀なスタッフの協力があればこそです。すべてのスタッフに感謝します。
これで完全治療のめどが立ったと言えるでしょう。
So, we've now just learned that him coming here as a photographer is all a ruse, probably for like an annual conference, as it were, around this disease.
まだいくつかの詰めは残っておりますが、それは時間と予算が解決する問題です。
それにつきましては、よろしくお願いいたします。しかるべき人員と予算があれば、おそらく3年以内、61年度までには完全な医療体制を確立できると思います。今後の課題は、専門知識のない医療機関でも容易に対応できるパッケージ的な治療方法の確立と、より安価で簡易な検査法の確立です。
Okay, so we got a couple things. So one, sounds like they already have a test that can determine if someone has Hinamizawa syndrome. And two, it sounds like they already have ways of administering it. In fact, we've seen it with Satoko, that there are ways at least to suppress it, but they're talking full cure here. And this is just a general problem a lot of medical facilities will face. Especially being able to administer it easily. If you have a vaccine that, say, requires being transported in minus 20 Celsius, that can be a big problem, as we may have seen in recent real-world events.
検査法に関しては、現在、入江先生が血液採取から潜在患者を発見する方法を研究中です。この方法が確立すれば、一般的な健康診断と併用できますので、相当の低コスト化を実現できると思われます。
それは素晴らしい。現在の検査法はだいぶ大掛かりで高コストですからね。いや、コストにまでお気遣いいただき、本当に感謝します。国民の健康はすなわち国益のはず。それに予算問題を出すのは本当に情けないことなのですが、削れるなら1円でも安くというのが当方の立場なのです。
もちろん理解しています。治療法は確立したが、コスト的に不可能では絵に描いた餅ですから。机上の空論でなく、実行可能な方法で考えるのも我々の仕事です。
Motake started clapping again, and everyone followed him.
あなたは医師として優秀なだけでなく、本当に尊敬できる人格者です。
Yeah, that's for sure. Just like making it's one thing. Transport is huge. So like, what kind of shelf life do they have? How far do they have to travel? What are their conditions? And they're talking here like how cheap is it to administer? And in Japan, for a large part, there's a lot of healthcare that's free, and in fact, if you work in a lot of like big businesses, if you're like a salary man or woman, a lot of times like annual physicals are mandated by the company and can offer you bonuses. They'll offer bonuses for things like non-smokers. Non-smokers get like extra time off work and stuff like that because they're not taking smoking breaks and they're less likely to have health issues. So that's one thing. So they're talking here the financing side from the government side. But if you don't have public health care, then there's a whole different thing. If this test, say, cost $1,000 a pop, there's a lot of people who wouldn't be able to take it, and that's another hard challenge to overcome.
あなたとお会いできたことを誇りに思います。
いえ、本当に拍手をいただくのは、すべての方を治療できて、いわゆるお社様のたたりを完全に撲滅できた時です。それまでどうか連帯して頑張っていけたらと思っております。
こちらこそ。私も入江所長の要求する予算が限りなく額面通りになるよう努力します。どうか引き続きよろしくお願いいたします。
And we talked and Irie shook hands. The meeting room was filled with applause yet again.
今夜のミーティングはこれまでといたし
Yeah,
ましょう。
I think it was they got an extra because someone somewhere had calculated like, oh, if you take 2 10-minute smoke breaks a day, so there's 20 minutes a day if you did a 5-day work week. Although I think a lot of places in Japan still do a 6-day work week. If we do 6, then you have 6 times 20. That's 120 minutes or 2 hours a week on break. That adds up real fast. So someone did the math, and I think it was they got like an extra week of vacation time or pay.
明日は皆さんもお待ちかねのメインイベント、予算ヒアリングです。各自奮闘しましょう。
Kana was being sarcastic, of course. Staff members in the lab cups were smiling bitterly.
いや、必要な予算なら私も最大限配慮します。私は本当は皆さんの味方になってあげたいくらいなんですよ。ですが、上に説明するのも直接怒られるのも僕ですのでね。申し訳ございませんが、しぶしぶ厳格に審査させていただきます。どうかご協力をよろしくお願いいたします。
それが富武さんのお仕事ですから、やむを得ません。どうか明日はでは、本日はこれで解散といたします。
Once Irie declared the meeting was over, his white-coated staff gathered up their documents and left after glancing at the clock. So, I'd have to look up again exactly what it is here. I think it's if you work for every 4 hours, you're entitled to a 15-minute break. So if you work a shift that's less than 4 hours, like let's say you had like a 3-hour opening shift, you're not entitled to a break. But if you did 4 hours, then you're entitled to a 15-minute break at some point in there. And if you work, I think it's at least 6 hours, you're entitled to a 30-minute meal break at some point. And then if you're one of those people who's doing an 8-hour workday, so then you have 15-minute break in the morning, 15-minute break in the afternoon, and a half-hour break for food at some point in the middle. But I mean, most employers aren't that anal about it. It might be different if you were in something more fast-paced, like a restaurant or something like that. But if you're working in an office building or something like that, it's, from my experience, like as long as you get your work done and like you're present for the most part, it's fine. It was almost midnight. Staff who were off tomorrow might be already, but those scheduled to work needed to sleep soon, or would hinder them the next day. Kano gathered up the butts from the ashtrays, as well as the empty coffee cans. Oh, and smoking is huge in Japan. I'm not quite sure why that is the case, but they have a very high rate of smokers. No eye strain.
あら、コーヒーを飲まない人もいるのね。せっかく会議用に認めさせたコーヒー代なんだから、ちゃんと飲んでくれないと、この分まで予算が切られちゃうのかしら。
ひどいな。僕も仕事でいやいややってるんだよ。
ああ、高野さん。そのコーヒー、1本もらいます。
じゃあ、僕ももらいます。すべて飲み切った方が、予算請求には都合がいいでしょうから。
The two of them seem more relaxed with the other staff members gone. Tomitake and Irie loosen their collars in a sign of relief.
リカちゃんとサトコちゃんたちはお元気ですか？先週聞いた話では、サトコちゃんの検査結果が一時期良くなかったように聞きましたが。
あれは取り越し苦労のようでした。急に暑くなりましたからね。体がびっくりしてしまったんでしょう。最新の検査結果では、非常に安定した状態に戻っています。
入江先生はさとこちゃんには特に熱心ですからね。
そんなことはありませんよ。医師たるもの、すべての辞める者には公平に全力を尽くします。そして私に感謝してメイドさんになってくれればなお素晴らしいのですが。
Please dig a hole and bury yourself in it, sir.
なかなかそうはなりませんね。
サトコちゃんを完全に治療できる方法があれば本当に素晴らしいのですが、それはやはり難しそうですか？
Yeah, I mean, so I was in Japan. It was just before COVID hit. It was October 2019, I think. And they still have the vending machines that dispense cigarettes, which we had in North America. I think I've seen it like once before in North America in like a really old vending machine in an old motel or something. And the cigarettes were probably like 20 years old. I don't know why anyone would buy them. But yeah, they still have those there. And the ones that dispense beer as well. But yeah, phasing out smoking, or at the very least making it like less accessible, I guess. Like, not, you don't want to cut people off who are smokers, but if you can get like cigarettes at every shop, it's pretty easy to get. But yeah, it also depends on the culture. There's lots of things that probably should be being phased out, like non-hybrid cars and stuff like that, but it's where the money is.
サトコちゃんのように一度でもレベル5に至った場合、幻覚症状の際に
Okay, I was wrong on the levels. Satoko's L5, level 5, which is the point of no return. I guess it goes up to 6?
これは厳密には病気によるものではなく、精神の中に育まれる正常な防衛反応なんです。
Okay, hallucinations. Similar to flashbacks, okay.
厚物に懲りてナマスを吹くということわざにもあるように、過去の経験を積極的に生かそうとする正常な反応なんです。
That's an interesting concept. Yeah. I don't know about necessarily banning it outright, but you could implement like a fairly heavy tax on it. So it's like anyone under 18. Well, first of all, you probably shouldn't be smoking if you're under 18. But let's say you started like anyone under 25 has to pay like this extra 20% tax on it. That could also encourage it as well. Yeah, people who... I'm not a car person at all, if my car works. Okay, I need to look up. I'm not a smoker, but I need to look up what are the tax levels in Canada on cigarettes, because I know we do tax it, but I have no concept of... It probably differs province to province. So I'm going to just look it up for my province. So, in Ontario, which is the province I live in, it's 18.5 cents per cigarette or per gram if they're selling you just like tobacco and you're going to roll it yourself. Or 56.6 cents. 56.6% of the taxable price of a cigar. So if you're doing a cigar and the taxable price is 13% here, so then you're basically upping like another 7%. And that was last increased in March of 2018 here. Oh, and my province apparently is very cheap. If you go to BC on the West Coast Pacific side, it's 32.5 cents per cigarette, which works out to be $6.50 for a pack of 20 cigarettes. Yeah, that's pretty steep, actually. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's still not enough. They're already talking here cutting. We have a carbon tax on gasoline. So if you're buying gas for your car, there's like a 6 or 7 cent per liter tax on it, which they're talking of scrapping right now just because of current world politics and gas prices. And Canada also has several places that are pretty big on like oil and gas production. So they're always against any like reduced carbon taxes and stuff like that.
つまり一言で言えば心的外傷のことよ。しかも前頭葉に直接ダメージを受けていることが考えられるので、一般的な心的外傷よりもずっと繊細なカウンセリングと長期の投薬が必要でしょう。
病気は治療できても心の傷は治せないということかい？
心的外傷に苦しむ人は社会にも大勢いる。
Okay, let me look up our gas tax, which also differs province by province. Ontario gas or carbon tax. So on top of our normal tax rate, which is 13%, it's an extra 11 cents per liter. But what's always been weird to me is if you are like a resident paying taxes, you get a rebate back on it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if the reason for that is you wouldn't give that rebate to companies, so you're really only charging companies that drive around a lot. So truck drivers or like delivery companies or, places that would have a lot of deliveries like Costco. It's been fluctuating wildly right now. It's currently sitting around, I would say, $1.65 a liter. I've seen it as high as about $1.90 a liter within the past 2 weeks, and as low as $1.59 a liter. But it's usually been around the like $1.65, $1.70 a liter right now. And like prior to Prior to this, it was probably sitting around 145, so it jumped about 30 cents a liter, approximately, in the past month or so. How does that compare to where you are? So to give people some comparison, so I drive a... okay, let's do this conversion. 1 liter in gallons. Okay, so 1 liter is approximately 1/4 of a gallon, so 4 liters to 1 gallon. So if we take that price, so let's just do 170 times 4. It would be about $6.80 per US gallon. Over there, it's about $2.60 Canadian a liter. You did say, yeah, so your gasoline tax is higher than ours, because yours is a percentage. Canada and US are probably pretty close. We're both oil-producing countries. We share pipelines cross-border. It's actually probably pretty close. I think US might be a little bit cheaper. Yeah. More expensive by about $1? Okay. Yeah, usually I find in the US it's cheaper.
その中の一人に混じれるだけでも、かつてのさとこちゃんの症状を思えば奇跡的な回復なんだしね。
糖尿病などと同じに考えてください。
Yeah, $2.60 a liter. Jeez.
不治の病では
I'm just thinking. So I drive a 2017 Ford Explorer. I try to fill up at about a quarter tank of gas. It's a 60-liter tank, so I'm filling up about 45 liters. That costs me usually somewhere around $65, $70, and I fill up once a week. That's just based on the current ones. Before that, I was maybe around 60, like $55, $60 a fill up, so it's like an extra $10, $15 a week I'm spending on gas right now. Yeah, and upstate New York would be the closest to me. That or Illinois would probably be the two places if I was driving cross-border where I would fill up.
さとこちゃんは今でも日に3度の注射を？
いえ、だいぶ調子が落ち着いてきましたので、今は日に2度です。3度に比べれば、だいぶ負担は軽くなったと思います。
最初はだいぶ嫌がったんだけどね。
But it's crazy. Like, I remember growing up, the lowest gas price I recall in my life was just under 50 cents a liter. Like, I think it was 48 point something a liter. And, you know, that grew. Inflation has it grow up. And I can't remember what it was. There was some crisis in the oil sector that saw things jump up from like 60, 70 cents to over $1. It was like $1.10, $1.20. And it cooled off a little bit after whatever that was. But not by much. That was like the turning point. And I know talking to my father, he remembers when it was like 10 cents a liter. That was back when Canada used to distribute our gas in gallons like the US, and it was like 40 cents per gallon, so like 10 cents a liter. So, I mean, it's really changed just in like one generation. Like in my dad's lifetime, gas has gone up 10 cents a liter to 170. It's it's a huge jump.
ごまかして。
And just seeing, like, growing up, diesel was always much cheaper than gasoline, but now that's no longer the case. Diesel's been much more expensive than gasoline for a while now.
では、 日に2度の注射は自分の病気のためでなく、
Petrol.
入江先
Petrol.
生の研究の協力のためにやっているつもりなんですか？
次郎さん、聡子ちゃんに自分がどういう病気にかかっているのかを説明することはとても残酷な意味を持つのよ。前に話さなかったかしら？
あ、いや、
One thing I am curious about is people who have like a Tesla or one of those cars where you go to the driving station and you plug it in and they fill you up for free. Is like, how much would that cost if you were like out each week filling up your car? And like in the long run, are you actually saving money? It's a question I've had, but I've never actually worked it out or looked it
思
up.
い出したよ。無神経なこと言って申し訳ない。
富武さんもどこかで聡子ちゃんに会ったら優しくしてあげてください。
そうですね。わかりました。
リカちゃんは本当に強い人ですね。聡子ちゃんと同じような境遇のはずなのに、あれだけしっかりと生活できるんですから。
すべてリカちゃんとお亡くなりになられたご両親のおかげですね。多大なる理解と協力がなければ、これだけの短期間では治療の糸口は見つけられなかったでしょう。
人道的でない実験にもよく耐えてくれました。ご両親の死をも乗り越えてくれた彼女の協力なくして今日の成果はありえません。なんとかその恩に報いてあげたいものです。
そうですね。東京もリカちゃんと聡子ちゃんが最大の功労者であることは理解しています。必ずや二人の協力に見合う感謝を示すでしょう。
Not if they're dead, they won't.
あらあら、私たちにはコーヒーフィルター代まで渋るのに気前がいいのね。
だからそれをいじめないでほしいな。
Yeah, right now where I am, because we're about to have a provincial election in June, so they're actually doing a bunch of stuff to slash everything. So like, one of the highways near me, there's a couple of them that were tolled, and they were just like, nope, they're free now. Anyone can use them. We're not going to take your money from that. And they've recently scrapped. The license plate on your car, you used to have to go and pay $80 a year for a little sticker that says it's valid for this year. And they scrapped that. So you still have to get the sticker. You still have to register your license. But they rebated, because I just paid my license for that in December, January. And I did the 2 years, which is it's the same price. $160. They just sent me a check to refund that, so that was nice. But it's all because, it's your registration on your car, the sticker. It's a sticker on your license plate that just says you've registered your car for this year. It costs you $80 a year, or at least it used to. And then if you didn't stick it on super well, sometimes people would come and they'd peel it off and stick it on their car. So they wouldn't have to pay for it.
昨年の話は高野さんに根を持たれっぱなしだよ。
でも私たち大人は彼女たちの協力に結局お金でしか
Yeah,
報いれ
when
な
I
い
had to
よね。
go register the new car, get new plates for it, and pay the license for it. And I also had to have a safety inspection done on it. All of that turned out to be just over $5,000, $5,300. Yeah, we don't have that here. It's just annual.
心で報いる方法があればいい。
What they will do is if you have an older car, you do have to take an emissions test when you get it licensed, and if you don't pass your emissions test, I think then you get fined for it, or they just refuse to let you drive your car. They won't license your car to be driven if it's that bad. If you have, like a giant hole in your muffler or something that's just polluting everywhere, then they won't actually license your car. And thank you for the hydrate, Avier. Oh, and the stretch. So yeah, so because there's an election coming up, they refunded all of that. And they even refunded it back from, I think, 2018 or something like that. So my grandfather, who he got to the point where he was so old he couldn't drive anymore, and he moved into a home. So he got $30 back in a check, and I just found that was so funny that he got $30 back because he had whatever it was, a quarter of a year, half a year remaining on his license. Yeah, and you used to get up to $10,000 back if you bought greener, more environmentally friendly cars, so either hybrids or fully electric. And then they scrapped that. So if you want an electrical vehicle now, that's not like a smart car sized one. Like the starting price for most of those is at least $28,000, $30,000. There's a couple really small, two-door sedan ones that are closer to $20,000, or I think there's one that might even be $18,000. But if you want anything that can hold a family, you're probably looking at least $28,000-$30,000. And then if you want the charging station built into your garage so you can plug your car in, that's another couple $1,000s. So lots of stuff you'd have to do. Yeah, they've tried to do that here. I don't know what the exact year cutoff is. It might be 2030 as well, where production, that you have to at least be a hybrid car. But yeah, they've been pushing for that for a while here too. I think the end goal was zero emission cars by 2050. We'll see how that goes. I don't have much faith in our government to do that. Takano muttered like she's talking to herself, but it almost sounded as if she was talking to them.
心で報いる方法は日常の中にたくさんあります。それらを一つ一つ積み重ねていくことで、いろいろな形でお返しができると思います。
Yeah, like here, is it doable? Yes. In fact, there was one car company, one of the more, or maybe was it a company? I think it was one of the companies that does electric vehicles, and to prove that you could, they drove all the way across Canada, which is about 6,000 odd kilometers, in an electric car with the charge stations to prove that you could drive all the way across Canada in one of their cars. So it's possible. You can definitely do it. And we're starting to get to the point where things like parking garages, or if you're going to railway stations and you're parking, in their parking garage, there's usually a couple, not a lot, maybe 10 stations where you can charge your car for free there. Most people probably wouldn't. I agree, Samus's. Considering, honestly, I know flights are expensive. I don't know how it is in the States. I hear people in the States saying oh, I flew from whatever, Texas to LA for the weekend and my flight cost me $70. I'm like, how? Some of my favorite things is booking flights in Canada sometimes going from like point A to point B in Canada, it's literally cheaper to fly to the US and then back because that's cheaper. Because the US has such cheap flights. But yeah, even like a short haul flight, like a 1.5 hour flight in Canada, you're probably looking at minimum $300 per person. Yeah, like those interstate flights, I've seen some pretty cheap ones. 700. Yeah, that's about more what I see here in Canada. If you're flying from like one side of Canada to the other, $1,000 sometimes. Okay, when my wife and I flew to Japan, we got a good deal on it. It was like, I can't remember exactly what it was, about $1,100 per person round trip. At the time, it was cheaper for us to fly from Canada to Japan than it was to fly from Canada to inside Canada. I don't understand how flights work.
入江先生は、いえ、監督は日々そうしておられるようですわね。私もあの子たちに何か親切でもするようにしてあげないと。
Canada has trains too, but if I'm taking, like, let's say I'm going to a place that's, I don't know, 400 or 500 kilometers away, so yeah, like a 4 or 5 hour drive. The train is often actually more expensive than flying, because I would prefer taking the train just because it's less hassle going to get on the train than it would be getting on an airplane. It's better for the environment. But then I look at it and like, taking the train takes longer, which is fine. It's whatever. You know, if it's an extra hour or two, I don't mind. But oftentimes it's almost like double the price. And it's just like, why would anyone take this train then when I can fly for half the price? I don't know.
そうだよ。高野さんはそれでなくとも、今日大きな恩をリカちゃんに受けたじゃないか。
あ、いけない。明日の朝一でフィルムを現像に出さないと。ああ、本当に貴重な体験だったわ。歴史、文化、その息吹、本当に素晴らしい時間だったわ。
Rie wondered what she could have experienced during the day. Tomotaki could only smile and act like he didn't know anything.
そうだ、高野さん。今日の最後にされたリカちゃんのあのお願いだけど、どう思う？
被害妄想だと思いたいけれど、本人だって明確な証拠は示せないって言ったわけだし。
何かあったんですか？話だけを聞いていると、リカちゃんに良くない兆候が出たように聞こえますが。
Canada's like divided into like certain areas. Like if you look at the middle of Canada, basically for the Americans, if you're at like Chicago and like go straight up from there through the Great Lakes, if it's anything like you're crossing from one side of that to the other, most people wouldn't drive because you have to like go around the lakes like this, and it's probably like a minimum 12-hour drive. Like if you just like start and go around there, and if you want to like actually get from one major city to the next, I think it's like a 21-hour drive or something like that. If you're doing that, most people would fly. But 500 kilometers here is easily within driving range. Yeah, people will drive one province to another province, which is the same in Europe as driving through like 4 countries. Even if it's like just for a weekend, people will do that just for a weekend.
先週のリカちゃんの検査結果、私は極めて安定した良好な結果だったと思っているのですが、入江先生から見て何か変わった所見は見受けられましたか？
いいえ、今回もとても安定した結果でしたよ。さとこちゃんの検査結果が日本海の荒波だと例えるなら、 リカちゃんは琵琶湖の水面のような感じです。
No, Canada is not a walking kind of country.
二人の気象そのものですね。
急性発症の可能性は？
一体何事ですか？
Like, I love hearing stories. I knew there was this person, and I think they lived in England, and they're like, oh, I haven't seen my parents in like 3 years. I'm like, oh, do you like live super far from them? And they're like, yeah, we live 30 kilometers away. And at the time, I was literally driving twice that to work every day, one way.
まさかリカちゃんに症状の進行が見られるというのですか？
実は今日、彼女から私たちに依頼があったんですわ。自分の命が狙われているように思うので、身辺警護の強化を依頼したいと。
そんなバカな。一体誰が彼女の命を狙おうなどと言うんですか？考えられない。
How bad is finding parking? And how expensive is the parking? Because this is the thing for me is if COVID wasn't a thing, COVID makes me more likely to drive places just so I don't have to be around people. But if I didn't have to do that, driving here is a nightmare. I'm in Toronto. We have the busiest highway in North America. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but we've won it for many years in a row. We have the busiest stretch of highway in North America, beating out LA and New York. So that's wonderful. Parking starts at like minimum $16. And usually you're hitting like, if you drive downtown here, it's like expect to pay $30 for the day in parking, and take like an hour to get there minimum. And I lived outside the city, and when I used to take the train into work, the train round trip, it was about an hour each way, so 2 hours by train, plus driving to the train station, and then the train itself cost about $8.50 away, so round trip $17 a day, something like that. And there's no monthly passes. There's no monthly pass on that. It's just $17 a day. So it was basically pick your poison. You can either drive and have a bit more freedom but pay a bit more, or take transit, pay a bit less, takes a bit more time, but honestly not by much.
リカちゃんは村中から愛されてるマスコットで、殺したいほど憎む人がいるなんて聞いたこともない。
That's crazy.
僕も正直、眉
I
唾だと
remember
は
one of the first road trips I did to another city about 2 hours outside of Toronto, and went into a parking garage, public parking garage, didn't even look at the pricing because it was just like next to the hotel. Just like whatever, it's the most convenient if it's whatever, $30 a night, whatever. So the next day, checking out, and it ended up being something like $6 for the whole day. Here, that $6 might be half an hour of parking time. And what's worse is some of those parking meters are still coin only. So it'll be like $3 for half an hour, and they only accept coins.
夢で見たと。そういう悪夢にうなされてとても怖い思いをしたので、
You won't get that downtown most times these days. All the ones downtown are either credit card or app. Hospital parking is a scam, yeah.
あのくらいの年の子なら、夢見が悪くて怖くなってしまうこともたまにはあるかもしれない。でも、僕たちの立場上、それが単なる悪夢なのか、 初期症
Yes,
状なのか
I
は
changed
慎重に
doctors
判
like
断する
just
必
when
要があるだろう
COVID
ね。
started, like literally maybe a month before COVID started. So I've never actually met my new doctor. But my old doctor's office was one of those ones where it was coin parking, $3 an hour or something. And what people would do is they just park across the street in the coffee shop parking lot and walk over to it. But yeah, hospital parking here probably starts at like $8 an hour, $10 an hour, something like that.
わかりました。明日、彼女には緊急検査を実施しましょう。問題がないことを祈ります。今のこの村で、彼女より大切な人間は存在しないのですから。
何も問題がなければいいんだけどね。でも、もしそうだったとしたら、どうしようね。
ジローさん、リカちゃんはあれだけのものを私たちに見せてくれて、その見返りがあのお願いなのだとしたら、とてもささやかなものだとは思わない？身辺に不安を感じるという訴えをしてくれたんだから、私たちはそれに応えてこそ信頼関係だと思うの。これがお金でなく心で報いるということじゃないのかしら。
そうですね。仮に訴えが彼女の言うように夢見のせいだったとしても、それに応えなければ、私たちは彼女の信頼を失うでしょう。ある意味、幸運ではありませんか？彼女に恩返しをする方法が一つ見つかったわけですからね。
確かにおっしゃる通りです。それに、彼女の訴えは、私たちが当初から保証しているはずの権利でもあります。
それでなくても、私たちは彼女の安全を徹底的に守らなければならない。
その通りです。それについては、私ではなく、皆さんの仕事ですね。どうか、よろしくお願いいたします。
わかりました。では、高野さんの権限内でお願いします。東京から番犬を派遣するレベルでもないでしょ
う。フルでリカが夢にうなされたので派遣をお願いしますなんて言えませんもの。了解しました。山犬に最低4名の24時間警護を命じます。
それはすごいな。私が上京する時の警護より厳重です。
だってリカちゃんにはそれだけの恩を受けちゃったんですもの。そりゃあもうすごい警護をつけるわよ。リカちゃんの暗殺を企むような奴らは絶対阻止。山犬の
Yeah, let
最
me
精
get the
鋭を
exact
護衛につけるわ。
distance. It was
大統領は撃
pretty
てても
far.
リカちゃんは撃てると思うなよ。
So I was literally driving from, I wasn't even in the city, from one side of the city to the other side of the city. So if I do from there to where I was living at the time, what was that? Oh, I was off by a little bit. I was around 50 kilometers one way. So doing about 100 kilometers round trip each day.
たとえ相手が超永久スナイパーでも守りきってみせるわよ。
So yeah, so I was up and out of the house by 5:45 a.m. and would get back home around 6:30 in the evening.
にゃーにゃー。鬼ヶ淵村の神秘万歳。
高野さん、何かいいことでもあったんですか？
う。いや、
Yeah, so when I was doing that, I had to fill up. I was basically filling up my car And I had a different car. I had a smaller car at that time, but I was filling it up 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't even have an office anymore. Our lease ran out on our office, and our boss was just like, no one's coming in. What's the point of paying for the office? So yeah, so for me, it's just now from my bed to where did I leave my computer last night? After looking through the items that had been donated for the auction, we realized that there was nothing kids would be interested in. Keiichi insisted that the show wouldn't be a success unless there was something that kids would beg their parents to buy. He's probably right. For that reason, we went to the toy store again today. We were trying to get the owner to donate something that would interest all the kids attending the festival.
なるほどね。うちも先日のみんなのおかげで売れ残りをじゃなくていろいろとゲームを売ることができたからね。協力したいのは山々なんだけど。
Yeah, I don't even want to know how much my boss was paying. It was an office. It was designed, according to the building manager, to fit 4 people, 4 desks. We squeezed 6 people into it regularly. And even before COVID, I worked from home 2 to 3 days a week. Because we had, at the time, I think we were about 10 people, 8 to 10 people working there. And not everyone would come in on the same day. The only day we'd all come in would be Friday when my boss paid for lunch for everyone.
バッチャは叩き売りオークションが大人も子供も楽しめるイベン
And
ト
on
になる
those
ことを
days, there
大いに
were
期待しております。
the first floor and the top floor of the building were just open seating. It was just, you know, like rows of chairs and tables and stuff, and you could sit anywhere you wanted. So people who came in late would just go and sit anywhere they wanted there. Even then, I'm trying to think, it would have... He was probably paying like 5,000, at least 5,000 a month for that room for 4 people. So 5,000 a month, that would be 60,000 a year minimum for that office space.
ダメかな、吉郎
And I wouldn't be surprised if it was 6,000 a month or more.
本家の大ババ様に期待されちゃあな。わかったよ。なんとか協力するよ。断ると大晦日にどんな嫌味を言われるか怖いや。
すげえな。ミオンとこのばあさんって本当に偉いんだな。
私は会ったことありませんけど、怖い人らしいんですのよ。シオンさんが言うには、趣味は人の生爪を剥がすことなんだとか。
Truth. She does enjoy ripping people's nails off.
それはしーちゃんが脅かしただけだよ。レナはみーちゃんのおばあちゃんをよく知ってるよ。とっても優しい人なんだよ。礼儀正しくしてれば。
I'm impressed that she can refer to that monster as a nice
礼儀
lady.
正しくないと怖いのです。あと、敬語の使い方が間違ってる人にも怖いのですよ。
Yeah, like the room I'm in right now. So, yeah, so it's just here to where the piano keyboard is, and then my desk, just like double the width of my desk. It's basically the size of what our office was. So, this room here, at least $60,000 a year.
それは私には優しくないという意味ではございませんの？ゲイちゃん、話ついたよ。気前よく教室してくれるってさ。
So, $1,000 a person? That's about what we were paying. We just... Yeah, that's about what we were paying. I think we would have... And I don't know for sure how much we were paying. but I think we would have been paying more because we had more people with the key fob things to tap into the room. And I'm not sure how much those cost on top of the room itself. This laugh was a painful one.
どうして村人はミオンの言うことを聞きますのですか？
そりゃ園崎本家の意向に決まってるじゃない。ミオンはその園崎本家のお姫
Yeah,
様
but
だ。
here, unless you're a very big company like a major bank or like, you know, Microsoft or something like that, most companies don't have their own buildings. They'll rent like floor or like 2 or 3 floors of a building.
誰も逆らえないわね。
But they only had 90
ゴ
staff.
ルデ本家のお姫様なのですよ。
ありがとう。
Members of the Sonozaki branch families whose businesses usually get their funding from Mion's family. They can never go against the will of the main branch. The Sonozaki family made a fortune on the black market after the war, invested those funds as capital into businesses run by their family and the villagers. They charge almost no interest and require no cosigners or collateral. As long as one gives a proper explanation, they'll provide a notable sum. The money has to be paid back, of course, but it's lent between family and community. They're willing to make some adjustments if one goes begging. For that reason, everyone is borrowing money from the family. And that, more than anything, is why they can never refuse a request from Mion.
よーし、じゃあみんな手分けしてこれはと思うものを探してくれ。探し方のコツとしては、できれば大きいものの方がいいな。例えばトランプを一箱叩き売りしたって迫力がないだろ。でかいものの方が迫力があっていいもんな。
Yeah. Now, there's a sweet spot between I'm hard to find and people will always call me. You want to hit that sweet spot of people won't come out of their way to find me, but I'm also not so far that they won't call me every time they need something.
つまり大きくて高いものを狙い撃ちなのです。任せなさいませ。そういうのなら大得意ですわよ。
Yeah, all of the offices in that building, they were all like entirely glass,
見ながら選ぼうね。
all 4 sides, and just if it wasn't the side with the door, then it had the like that I don't know, like film, so like you can like see blurry stuff through it, kind of like on like a glass shower door, but you couldn't like make out anything more than there's a shape there. But that was only for like a couple feet. If you like looked under or looked above, you could see through. So if you like got down to like 3 feet tall, or you were I don't know like 6.5 feet tall, not even that much, maybe 6 feet tall, you could see it. So not that private.
うわー、レナ見て見て。
Like if you were sitting down at a desk, you could see under it and just see all the other offices. So
このぬいぐるみかわいいかわいい。
全部お持ち帰り。
みんな少しは加減してね。
the shop owner smiled bitterly at us.
ケイチくん、これは何だろう。ブランコって書いてあるよ。ブランコって公園のブランコ？うわ、重たい。
ああ、組み立て式のブランコだろ。庭や室内に置いて遊べるはずだ。公園のブランコのようなダイナミックな遊び方はできないけどな。小さい子が遊ぶにはまあ最初のうちは面白いんだけどな。そのうち飽きて使わなくなると 洗濯物を干すのにちょうどよくなるんだよ、これが。
やたら例えがリアルなのです。圭一は持ってましたのですか？
前の家でな、小さい頃のクリスマスのプレゼントに買ってもらったことがある。何しろパッと見の迫力があるしな。いいチョイスだぞ、レナ。
はい、ケイちゃん、これを貼っといて。後で町会の人に取りに来てもらうから。
Ian handed Keiichi a piece of paper that said Town Council on it. He was carrying around a whole stack of them. He's really thorough when it comes to things like this.
圭一さん、これなんかいかがですの？家庭用プールでしたよ。
ほう、それもなかなかいいチョイスだな。ミオ、こいつも押さえとかないか？
ひなみ沢じゃ水遊びがしたければ沢へ行けばいいからね。微妙じゃないかな。
はあ、でも金魚さんのプリントがなんだか可愛らしいね。レナはこのプールあってもいいと思うかな？私もあっていいと思いますわ。これだけたくさんの水が貯められればいろんなトラップに応用が効きますのよ。
ダメだ、却下だ。その威力を味わうのはどうせ俺に違いない。却下。
ならこれはどうなのですか？ゾウさんの滑り台なのですよ。これは僕も面白そうだと思いますのです。僕もお持ち帰りしたいのですよ。サトコが滑ろうとした瞬間に上からドンと押すとサトコがコロコロと転がっていくのよね。ああ、想像しただけで楽しくなってきた。羽生もそんなサトコを見たいでしょ？ああ、リカはサトコに意地悪して遊ぼうとしてますのです。はあ、それもいいね。お持ち帰り。
Deadbeard. You shouldn't be doing that. Normally I would scold you for being awake, but I guess this is like, what, 8, 9 a.m. for you? Thank you for that host. Yeah, there you go. How are you doing, sir?
はいはい、売約済みっと。
We're just here robbing a local game store so we can make kids go crazy and spend their parents' money. We enjoyed the privilege of picking donations for a while. I started to feel bad seeing the owner's troubled expression. I patted him on the head to comfort him. I'm doing well. Are we stealing Pokemon cards? No, not Pokemon cards.
おお、麻雀だ。
どうしたの、ケイちゃん。
Keiichi found something in the tabletop game section. I walked towards him to see what it was. There I saw a green mat on the table with the mahjong tiles all lined up on it. They were arranged in a square shape as if someone was playing there until just a few minutes. Panic, you can't scold yourself. That's not how it works. You don't scold yourself for subbing.
あれ？何これ、吉郎おじさん。勤務時間に麻雀なんかやってたの？
The scolding doesn't justify you spending more money.
違うよ、これはね。
That's not how it works. Look, if scolds were something you gave out as punishment for murder, you can't just commit murder. and scold yourself and be like, I've done my time, guys. Like, whew, that was a rough sentence. Panic. No gifting subs either. And do I want to know why I'm being pinged? Okay. Okay, the ping was actually a useful ping. Hello, Butler. Everyone's here now, huh? Subbing comes with a maximum sentence of 4 years scoldy service? I don't want to get into the part where my subs are serving people again. I feel like that's a different sub from your own community, and don't bring that in here. How is everyone doing? What would you even do during Scoldy service? You need an adult? Well, you better look elsewhere, because I don't see any. Scold my subs. I mean, I could do the thing where I send an email to all my subs, and the email is just high-res picture of me doing this. That could happen, right? There's no only scolds. So, only scolds would just be... It would just be this. It would be disappointed teacher luck. Need like the... Oh yes. Okay, perfect. So... How are the captions? Because last time we were getting really random stuff. Like what was it, like Shark War stuff, and it was just like, huh. 70-30. I will take that, considering last time we were talking about just like random stuff. There we go. The Samus has it. San Jose Vasquez. The shirt ward is there to make sure that chaos doesn't join us. Oh no. What is this nursery rhyme? Scoldylocks? Yep, I called it. Okay, we'll do a test sentence, so I'll give it a bit of time for stream delay. And then I will read this quote. Gosh dang it. I've got 2 balls, and I've got 2 more in my hand. I kind of hope the closed captions for that suck. Panic, thank you for finding that Scoldylocks indeed exists. But you didn't need to gift a sub to them. Just like Jedi order pizza. I don't know why. Jedi Order Pizza has had like 3 months of subs gifted to them. Thank you, Deadbeard.
Suspicious.
I scolded Panic so hard, I gave him scoliosis. Yes, why are these usernames? And of course, as everyone knows, scoliosis has the following main side effect. I'm not reading that! I'm not reading that! Instead, we'll read this. Samus weeps for days when God himself hires a skywriter to write, "Wait, we can talk to the sheep. Hi, sheep." That's much more friendly for stream.
すっごい久しぶりだよ。もうほとんどルールは忘れちゃったかな。
おお、レナくらいの女の子が麻雀を知ってるなんてすごいじゃないか。
I mean, I could censor myself, or I could drag all of chat down with me by pulling out chat quotes. There we go, you should censor yourself too, Samus.
あ、ひょっとしてあれか？以前に部活の種目になったことがあるんだろう。
去年の暮れでしたかしらね。もちろん私も大活躍でしたのよ。私の顔にはトラップが潜んでいましたよ。
みよ、お前な、裏若き女の子が4人も集まって学校で麻雀かよ。
ちょっとケイちゃん、麻雀をバカにしちゃダメだよ。
Oh, we got serious music. We're about to seriously play some mahjong.
村の冬の娯楽は麻雀一色になるんだから。こたつでぬくぬくみかんと
I'll be
麻
honest,
雀。
Samus, I thought I was going to pull a Beardy quote with that.
テレビからは紅白が流しっぱなし。風情があっていいね。
Suspicious.
Why have you gifted 40 subs? There is... Why am I telling Samus is this? This just only encourages more gift subs. If you go to the gift to sub thing, you can... There's like a search thing where you can search for usernames. Which I know can help people. If you're like me, I just go to the Twitch search page and just start typing the name. So like if it's Panic, I just start typing in like Duckman or just Duck and see what comes up. Yeah, no one should be gifting subs. I should never see gifted subs. I should also never see this thing that says a hype train is close. It's also a no. Or one of these days I might have to come back on you guys.
Suspicious.
Oh yes, announcements are a thing. Thank you, Samus. Except Beardy is also a mod, so you can't time him out. I love that this is what my mods use announcements for. To announce that they're having children together. And wait, I didn't want to win the title because it's the small dick trophy. I wanted to give away the small dick trophy. Doesn't mean the whole village does that.
そういえば、ここいらは豪雪地帯なんだったな。
Thank you, Deadbeard.
なるほど。
And thank you, Samus, for
こたつで
quoting
遊べる大人の
Deadbeard.
ゲームと言ったら、麻雀はド定番だよな。
ケイちゃん、麻雀をバカにしちゃいけないよ。麻雀こそは男社会の潤滑力。四角いジャングルを囲むとき、男たちは東なら清流、西なら白虎、南は朱雀、北は玄武。
Wait, if I feel like I've defended this belt like 3 times now or something like that. Am I at the point where I can like rename this belt? Because maybe if I name it something else, someone else will really want it. Like if I name it why am I undefeated at the small dick belts? Like like if I name it Senpai in the streets, Hentai in the sheets, will Chaos then really want it? Like, is this how it goes?
普段の上下関係やいさかいを全部捨てて対等な関係で戦い合うわけよ。
Also, I've learned something. So as someone who learned Mahjong, I wouldn't say I know it very well, but I learned Mahjong within the past year. Thank you for the quote. The version of Mahjong they're playing is fairly different from the Mahjong I learned. I didn't know until this year that there's like different kinds of Mahjong, which I guess makes sense. Like a game that old evolves and has different variations on it. But yeah, that was something I learned from watching this, because I was like, this was basically all I knew about Mahjong, and then I learned Mahjong, and I'm like, hey, where are all these things they talked about? Oh, that's a different kind of Mahjong. Oh, okay.
その精神の尊さは古代オリンピックにも通じるものがあるってわけ。
I mean, Chaos is still named Hentai Senpai. Yes, you can post it like on my Steam. I just rename everyone on my Steam for the most part. Okay, what is Taipei? What is this? Okay, so this is a form of Mahjong. So, like, things I learned, so in Mahjong you have different types of pieces. You have, like, the balls, you have the sticks, you have, oh, man, it's been so long, I don't even remember what the other ones are. And then there's the flowers, or, like, the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. And, like, in the version I played, if you draw one of the flowers or the cardinal directions, you discard it and you draw another one and stuff like that. So there's, like, those pieces I'm guessing are... I know they're used in the version that these guys are playing, because, like, one of them is you collect the 4 cardinal directions is one of the hands you can have. And like in the one they play, when you get to certain hands, you declare, like, oh, I have Raichi, or I have... I don't... Raichi's the one I already know off the top of my head. Whereas the version I learned, you just only declare when you lay down and you have it. I guess Mahjong, being the name of the game, is one of the hands you can get.
ケイチ君は麻雀わかるの？
親父が好きでな。お客さんが来た時、メンツが足りないと無理やり入れられてたよ。
So I think they're gonna actually go into it right now, because we've literally had entire chapters where we played Mahjong
ルール
before.
はわかる。不計算はできないけどな。それはそうと、なんでこんなところに麻雀が出てるわけだ？
Everyone looked at the owner.
お昼に来たお客さんと話してたら、ツバメ返しができるっていうんで見せてもらったんだよ。
ツバメ返しだって？麻雀史上究極の荒技イカ様じゃないか。古代中国にて伝説の達人が編み出したという中国拳法究極の技。その威力は宝具と同じとまで言われ、あまりの恐ろしさに時の皇帝によって葬り去られたと聞いていたが、未だ使い手が実在したのか。ちなみにこれは親父の受け売りなので真相は保証して。
I love the footnote. This is a story my father told me. I cannot verify its authenticity. Take all words that I say out of my own mouth at your own risk.
ツバメ返しって宮本武蔵だっけ？麻雀とどういう関係なのかな？手牌と山牌を瞬時に入れ替えてしまう大技なのですよ。ミパー。
That's just called
おい
cheating.
ミオン、なんでお前はこういう痛いけな子にそういう悪い知識を吹き込むんだよ。
いや
見てみたいな。誰かやってみせてよ。リカちゃんはできるのかな？知ってるだけでできませんです。サトコが一時期練習してましたですよ。
ちょっと待てサトコ、お前その年でそんなのを練習するんじゃない。
戦う前からトラップは始まっているなんて雰囲気は確かにサトコの得意としそうな雰囲気だね。
相手が圧勝におごり油断した最後の勝負で仕掛けるのこそ最高のトラップタイミングなんですのよ。
で、サトコは結局マスターできたわけ？練習はしてたんでしょ？
実戦ではとても使えませんわね。練習でほんの何度かできたことがあるっきりですわ。へえ、見たい見たい。さとこちゃんやってみせてよ。みー、僕も見てみたいのです。仕方ありませんわね。失敗しても笑わないでくださいませよ。
Satoko sat in front of the table and started piling up the tiles.
さとこはそんなすごいことをできるのでしょうか？さあ、どうかしらね。成功すればすごいし、失敗しても可愛いし、照れてるさとこが可愛いから、私は実は成功失敗はどうでもよかったりして。まずはですわね、あらかじめ山の牌に欲しい牌を仕込んでおくことから始めますのよ。なるほどね。それと手牌を一気に入れ替えちゃうというんだね。でもどうやって？手品なの？
だからね、手牌と仕込んだ牌を一気に入れ替えちゃうわけよ。ぜひ実際にアニメーションか何かでご覧に入れたいシーンなんだけどね。文章での中継なのでそのあたりは想像で保管してください。
Panic just revealed the tagline for my next match. It'll be me versus Panic, and he said, "No 3-year-old book can defeat Popeye." Well, nice to know I'm facing a book.
ミー が誰に喋ってるのかわからないのです。
と言いつつカメラ目線なリカちゃんもな。
では行きますわよ。
Everyone gulped and looked closely at the table. Satoko moved her hands like a swan on a lake. She had 13 tiles in front of her, and she silently flipped them all face down. Then she lifted them up by holding both ends, and silently placed them against the back edge of the wall, keeping them hidden.
さあ、いよいよここからだよ、サトコ。
自信がありませんけど、行きますわよ。
We all went quiet. Satoko reached out towards the Yamahai, and she grabbed the whole thing with her small, little hands. Sentient book. Why are you gifting subs to my enemies? Stop gifting subs, and stop gifting subs to my enemies.
というわけで、ここで麻雀の詳しくない人にいかに山牌をつかむのが大変かを説明しよう。自分の手牌は通常13牌だ。この程度の数なら両手でうまく押さえつけるように持てば宙に持ち上げることだってできる。
Even lifting those 13 tiles is pretty tough.
不慣れだと失敗してぶちまけてしまうが、そう難しいことではない。だが山牌はそうはいかない。
Yamahai is the wall of tiles. If you've ever played Mahjong, you know, each person has their set of tiles like we were playing Scrabble, and then you have like a square in the middle of all the other tiles. So they're talking about taking one wall, one edge of the center square, and like quickly replacing it.
山牌は基本的に17牌ある。しかも2段積みなのだ。しかもここからが肝心。17牌かける2段を丸ごと動かせばいいわけではないのだ。上段は17牌全部を、下段は端の4牌のみを移動させなければならない。
Only the four. Okay, so you're picking up the whole top row and then the two on either side. Oh, and then that's going to leave you with 13 on the bottom, so you're moving that. Okay.
これを先ほど山の向こうに置いた手牌13牌にかぶせることで、手牌は山の中に埋もれ、さっき山牌を移す時に残した下段の13牌が自分の手牌として残るのだ。これこそ積み込み技の究極と言われるゆえん。全13牌を丸ごと全部入れ替えてしまう大技なのだ。
サトコ、しっかりなのですよ。
I could see Satoko trying to concentrate. She's supposed to be doing this more naturally since it's a technique for cheating. Twitch, why do you allow uncles and hentai on your channel? Do I want to know? Do I want to know why they're on your platform? $42 subs. 42 subs, Deadbeard. Isn't it time to stop? Someone audibly swallowed, and at that exact moment she made her move. Crash. She'd put too much strength into it, and her tiles fell apart.
Suspicious.
やっぱり無理でございますわね。
Don't bring Jesus back into this! Also, why was a sub gifted to Hentai Jesus Returns before Hentai Jesus? Like, are you foreshadowing his return?
こんなのなかなかできるものじゃありませんわ。
What was that exact
ちょっと
one?
俺もやってみる。
レナも挑戦してみよう。今のうちに覚えておかないと。
March 16th, Deadbeard gifted a sub to Hentai Jesus Has Returned. Oh no, I'm scrolling through that and it's scrolling through the game as well.
僕も挑戦しますです。
Uh, no second coming jokes, no tentacle commandments jokes, you know. All of us except Mion took a seat and started piling up the tiles.
一見するとルールを知らない子供たちが麻雀牌で遊んでるように見えるんだけどね。
その実態はツバメ返しの練習だってんだから。
The store owner literally said, "You look like your children who don't know the rules." Thank you for the quotes.
私の部員たちは実にたくましく育ってくれたもんだよ。
Hentai Jesus only has one commandment, and that's he may be reading some oohs at some point. My hands and Satoko's hands are about the same size. If she can do it, I know I can too. Of course, I can't really use this trick during a real game. We were just playing around, but I was having a good time. I'd never done this before in my 100 years of life.
手が不器用になった気がしますわ。悔しいですわね。最初の13杯を持ち上げるのも難しい。はあ。
いいかあれな、両手の小指で挟み込むんだよ。
So, does Uwu Jesus have his sermon and be like, instead of blessed are the meek, it's blessed are the weebs?
そうそう。力を入れすぎると弾けるぞ。
I feel sorry for anyone still reading these closed captions. Two things. Yeah, a couple of things. One, I didn't hear my sound effect go off. 'Cause that's supposed to play a sound effect. Thank you, OBS, for breaking that. But also, no anonymous cheers to get a hype train going to exactly 69. But let me find, because that... I don't think I turned this off. Let me try and get it running. Because I'd put in jump scares when we were doing Death Damnation. Let me double check. Did I make a mistake here? Is it not like that space? That's supposed to play the suspicious sound, so for whoever that anonymous cheer was, I'm just going to replay this so we can get the suspicious sound. 100 bits is supposed to... where is it? It's supposed to play this. Give it a second to load in. That like piano scare is what it's supposed to play. I'll have to take a look at that. Let me make a note of that. It sounds not working. Alright, I'll take a look at that after stream. And no hype trains. Just no hype trains.
"かといって力が足りないとうまく持てないしね。その塩梅を得得する。
It's very difficult to lift up the first 13 tiles to begin with. Not everyone can get past this stage. Satoko was doing well the first time, but she lost her concentration and is dropping her tiles now. I took Keiichi's advice and supported the tiles with my pinky fingers and lifted it up. Oh, I did it.
最初の13個をうまく持てましたのです。
おお、やるじゃねえか。なんだよ、リカちゃんが一番リードしてるぞ。負けられねえ。
リカも器用なのです。
Not even an itty bitty one.
続きもうまくできますのですか？
なかなか難しいわね。でも誰よりも最初に成功させたいっていう気持ちはある。
Wow, this is our third stretch. Oh, and Deadbeard, while you're here, I think you will appreciate this. So I'll do the stretch first. I've acquired something that I think you will be interested in. It's not chaos. It could perhaps cause chaos. It's not Chaos's parents. But yes, just over here in the mystery case. I'm stepping on dog toys. It's not foot pedal. I don't know what foot pedals you got. This big case. Well, if you saw the writing on that, that may have given it away. I had mentioned this actually in your chat, in your Discord at one point. I went out and got myself a trumpet. So, that's my surprise. I got myself this little trumpet. It's been pretty good. I've only had it for like one night to try it. And it's been a long time since I played trumpet. The dog absolutely hates it. I spend more time just probably chasing him around going boo boo boo. Because he absolutely hates it. But yeah, it's been a while. I played trumpet in grade 8 for like half a year, and I wanted to get back into what is trumpet? I wanted to get back into something musical. I do this every so now and then. So I mean, I've got my piano over here, a little keyboard. I've got a ukulele down here. I've got a set of bagpipes. So, and I can't play them, but I got this set of bagpipes here. Which I got. I tried to learn how to. Oh, thank you. I can see some people throwing out. Do you have the good luck have fun badge in your? Yes, set of bagpipes. That away, and then down here somewhere, I've got my Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Ocarina, which I know I've played and showed on stream before. But yeah, so got the trumpet, tested it out. I was actually impressed with how much I could still do, considering I haven't played trumpet in like 15 years. I had to do some math on that. About 15 years. So I was actually pretty pleased with myself. the most difficult thing for me coming back to it wasn't like the embouchure or making the sound or anything. It was remembering how to read sheet music for the trumpet. I've never been a good sight reader, so that's the thing that I'm working on. So I ordered a used copy of like a band practice book that's going to come in a couple of weeks. Yeah. There's my collection of instruments. Okay, what have I missed? So thank you for people whoever banned people. I guess it was Beardy based in the comments. Lots of trumpet hype I see. That's how you play brass, aggressively fogs. Bagpipe cover's probably never coming. So that bagpipe, so first of all, it's what's known as a trainer set. So with bagpipes, you have the three reeds, which are supposed to put out a constant. I think it's first, third, and fifth to make a chord, a bass chord, and then you play your actual notes on the main reed. So in a trainer set, the three chord ones, they're just hollow. They don't do anything. I tried it. It took me a long time just to be able to play the scale like once on it, and it wasn't even good. And I couldn't consistently do it, so I determined the bagpipes weren't for me, but it's still a cool thing I have around. Dog also hates the bagpipes. But yes, back at school I played French horn for a year and a half. I would love to play French horn again, but French horns are expensive. I wasn't willing to drop that kind of money. It was at least like $1,000. Saxophone is also an instrument I've always liked. They were also like $1,000. This was kind of the compromise. This was, I think with tax, it was just under $500. Best colds, trumpets, and glitches. I don't know about best trumpets. Yeah, I wanted to get back into that, because currently I play a bit of piano every now and then, but I'm not really actively learning stuff. Ocarina, what I do is, I actually have a website, and if anyone's interested, I can share this. But basically what it does is it has the notes, and you can like hover over them, and you can click, and you can make the sheet music. But you have to do it by ear, and apparently I'm pretty good at writing music by ear. So I've done some that I've played on stream before, but every now and then I'll go and figure out a song by ear. I'm just looking up what was the last one I did. Turnabout Sisters theme from Ace of Attorney. I did a little bit of that the last time. But yeah, always loved music, just, I don't know, I've never really committed to something. So this was like step one in committing myself of getting back into it. So yeah, that was the surprise.
続けていくわよ。
くそ、リカちゃんが一番乗りになっちまうのか。
次の入れ替えができればいきなり成功だね。次は牌がいっぱいあるから大変。
I guess occasionally my wife also plays ukulele, so sometimes we'll both pull them out and just like play music for each other some nights.
頑張れなのですよ。リカ、正念場でしたよ。
I had to lift up the whole top row and only 4 tiles from the bottom row. I probably didn't need to use too much force. I can do this. Crash.
はあ、欲しいな。
やっぱり横に17パイもあると、それだけで難易度は急激に高くなるね。
僕が一番に成功させますです。 きっとできなかった人には罰ゲームがあるに違いないのです。
なんだってミオ、本当か？
どうしようかね。
When does Mion ever turn down punishment? There were only 4 seats, so Mion wasn't even in the game. I mean, she could set up the punishment with no risk to herself.
はあ、みーちゃんはやってないのにずるい。ずるいという暇があったら練習あるのみでございますわよ。なんだか大変なことになってしまったのです。
I thought we came all the way to Okinomi to get donations for the auction. Why were we doing this now? Although that's why I love hanging out with these people. If it wasn't for them, I would have lost my soul a long time ago. I would have become a worthless piece of flesh. I heard that rabbits can die from loneliness, but humans are no different. Elephants too. Elephants can die of a broken heart, apparently. Humans can also die from boredom.
やっぱり今回の世界は何かが特別。もちろんそれは個々にはいずれもあり得ることばかりなんだけど、それらがみんなそもそも理科の運命が今まで不幸続きだったのです。たまにはために貯めた幸運を放出してもらわないといけませんのです。違いないわね。
If I have such a miserable and deadly fate, I do deserve some happiness that evens out the sadness. I felt like the luck I'd been getting in this life was something that I'd been saving up for 100 years. People I love are all healthy and happy. I also asked Takana to reinforce my security. I don't know if she really will, but she promised me. She never did that in my previous lives. I think her reaction to my requests was the best one so far. In fact, she was skipping on her way back home. She must have been in a good mood. I was sorry for breaking the family rules, but I think it was worth it. I told them that their lives were also in danger, but I doubt they really believed that. They didn't seem too frightened by it. I had to give them a final warning on the night of Watanagashi. I tried warning them too often, they'd never believe me.
私はもうこの世界でできる努力はないということなのかしら。わかりませんのです。その時が訪れてみるまで何もわかりませんのです。
I'm blessed with miraculously good fortune in this world. I gave it my best effort using all my previous experience, but did I do enough? I wish I could have my fortune told. I just want something to tell me that I did everything right. Please tell me what my fortune is. As soon as I made the wish, God granted it to me.
ありゃ、何ですかこれは。
I suddenly heard a low voice. Keiichi and Rena dropped their tiles as soon as they heard it.
これは大石さんじゃありませんか。勤務中にこんなお店に入っていいんですか？
どうもどうもこんにちは。今日は非番ですからご安心を。
今日ってところね。
今日がどうかしましたか？はて。
Looked like Oishi was ordering something from the owner. Wonder what the old guy wanted from a toy store of all places. Mion was wondering the same. She asked him instead of me.
いえね、麻雀のマットを丸めてだいぶ長いことしまっていたせいですっかり反り返ってしまったんです。こたつの板裏もすっかり緑の布が剥げちゃってて使い物にならず困ってたんですよ。
ほう、雀荘じゃなくてご自宅で麻雀ですか。優雅な休日の過ごし方なことで大方妙な語呂とトラブルでも起こして出禁でも食らったんじゃありません？
まさかご冗談を。公僕たる者は遊戯場でも紳士でなくてはいけません。そんなトラブルなんて起こしませんよ。それはさておき、 皆さんも麻雀ですか？若い方は麻雀なんかできないと思っていましたよ。
我が部の精鋭を侮ってもらっちゃ困りますね。およそ勝敗のつくものなら種目は問わず、どんな登場であっても背中は向けないのだ。
I mean, you can give anything a winner and a
それ
loser.
がたとえ麻雀、パチンコ、競馬、競輪、競艇、果ては書道、聖火、ゲートボールまで何であろうと。
Slot machine, she literally says pachinko, which is a type of slot in Japan. It's lots of like little metal marble things fall down. It's very noisy, lots of lights. Very annoying in my opinion, but there are lots of people who like it.
最後には足を踏み外すと下が溶岩や濃硫酸とかになってるところで戦わされそうなのです。
大丈夫だリカちゃん。その登場は仮に死んでも単行本が 2,3 冊も進むとひょっこり生き返れる。
圭一さんとリカが何の話をしてるのかさっぱりわかりませんわね。
はて、これはどういう場ですか？まだ山を積んでるところですかね？いえ、違うん
ですよ。ツバメ返しの練習なんですよ。
ツバメ返しの練習ですか？いやはや。
この人なんだよ。さっきお昼に来てツバメ返しを見せてくれた人は。
なんだって
実践じゃできませんがね。まあ芸の一つですよ。
大石さんでしたっけ？ぜひやってみせてくださいよ。俺ぜひともその技をマスターしたいんです。というかマスターしないと今年の冬の部活がヤバそうなんです。
ねいいですともお見せしますよ。あなたは間違えたらごめんなさい。前原屋敷の
すみません。はいそうです。引っ越してきたばかりの前原圭一です。こんにちは。
あれ、ケイちゃんは初対面？こちらはね、警察の大石さん。綿永市の実行委員会にも警備の顧問として参加してるから、そのうち実行委員会の席で会えるよ。
そうそう聞いてますよ。何でも相当元気のある方だそうじゃないですか。
I think this is the first time that we've met him in a friendly manner. Even though Rika says it was bad luck, this is the first time we've met him and he's not investigating something.
しかし司会とは責任重大だ。よく引き受けられましたね。実に勇気と度胸があります。
でも引き受けたからには頑張りますんでよろしくお願いします。前原圭一と申します。どうかよろしくお願いします。
おう、元気なだけでなく礼儀正しい若者ですね。若いのに感心です。私は沖宮署の大石と申します。なんならクラちゃんでも結構ですよ。で
は大石は僕の席でやるといいのですよ。
お、これはすみません。ではちょっくら失礼させていただきます。
You rapidly gathered up the tiles. I can tell you've been doing it for a long time.
柔道家は相手の帯の結び方を見るだけで段を知るって言うよな。まさにそんな感じっすね。
ねはいを積むだけで褒められちゃうとなんだか照れちゃいますね。はい、では皆さんよろしいですか？参りますよ。それちょっと
Good swoosh click click.
はい、
Well
こ
done.
んな感じですね。
うわー！発災だ
We all broke out in cheers. You often hear the audience cheer for a big performance on TV, but it really was more impressive seeing in person. He did it so quickly too. He made it look so simple that anyone could do it, but everyone here knows it's a very difficult thing to do. That's why we're all impressed at how easily he performed the trick.
すごいすごい、大石さんすごい。さすがですわね。
すげえです。マジで感動しました。俺に教えてください。もう一度スローで。
いいですよ。では私の真似をしてください。本当はスローの方が難しいんですがね。指の使い方なんかをよく見ておいてください。特に小指に注目しててくださいよ。まずこうですね。ここまではわかります？それからそこでこう。いえ違います。持ち上げなくていいんです。前へスッとせり出す感じです。でも押すのとは違う。ホバークラフトのようにほんのわずかだけ宙に浮かしてスッと。
ホバークラフトのような気持ちでほんのわずかだけ宙にスッと。あっくそ。
力は入れなくていいんです。実際は音をさせたらもう失敗なんですからね。無音で忍者のような気持ちでスッとやります。
忍者の気持ちでスッと。もう一回やります。見ててください。
It was strange. I'd never seen Keiichi and Oishi play mahjong together.
なんだか圭一くんと大石さんって仲良しになれそうな感じがするね。やっぱり男同士だと通じるものがあるのでございましょうね。
Oishi usually appears only after Takano and Tomitaki get murdered on the night of Watanagashi. He's only ever appeared on the scene as a detective. He always approaches Keiichi as a detective. He never thought of him as someone he could trust. He only thought of Keiichi as a decoy to expose the culprits among the villagers, or some nonsense like that. So even when you see it, it's hard to believe. Keiichi and Oishi are having a good time together like friends.
圭一と大石が仲良しなんて僕も初めて見ますのです。でしょうね。私だって初めてだもの。これをどう受け取ればいいのかしら。大石が現れた時、運試しは今日だって思ったのに。
I couldn't understand this world at all. My heart was pounding, and I had the strong feeling that I'd roll a 6 every time I threw the die. I should roll it again. I think I'll roll a 6 again. I'll know it before I roll it. I will roll that 6, and I'll finally defeat my deadly fate.
いらっしゃいませ。
あ、いた。大井さん、買ってきましたよ。
My heart started racing. The voice sounded so familiar, I'd heard it before. That couldn't be right. Honey always warned me, don't expect too much. It couldn't be him.
ああ、赤坂さん、ご苦労様です。お店すぐにわかりましたか？
申し訳ありません。親切な郵便屋さんに声をかけてもらわなかったら、今頃どこまで行ってたやら。
The young man was standing there. He was wearing a casual outfit and holding a plastic bag in his hand. I always thought Akasaka wore a shirt and tie. He seemed so much smaller. He looked at me as I stared at him. Normally, you look away when you make eye contact with a stranger, but we stared at each other without averting our gazes.
なのですか？
ということは、やっぱりリカちゃんだね。
え？知り合い？
赤坂さん、フルデさんと面識があったんですか？これは驚いた。
So at this point, we've gotten past the tragedy of the first chapter, the second and fifth chapters. What was the third chapter? We haven't done the third chapter yet. And then this right here is the solution to the fourth chapter. Akasaka returning to meet Rika. And what? Sixth one we've already done as well. So the only one that's left is the third chapter.
久しぶりだね。少し伸びたんじゃないかな。
赤坂こそなんだかたくましくなったようなのです。
This is Mamoru Akasaka, detective from the Tokyo Metropolitan Public Safety Division. He sometimes shows up in Hinamizawa in 1978. He has no relation to Hinamizawa or my deadly curse, but outside the village, he's the person I trust the most. I've asked for his help in the past several times, but nothing ever came of it. He's from so far away. He forgets about me once he returns to Tokyo. That's why I'd given up on him.
赤坂はどうしてまたひなみ沢に？
子供を両親の家に預けてね。家内と二人で旅行に来たんだよ。
So, his wife is still alive, an important difference from the fourth chapter.
うん。君は家内の命の恩人だからね。
Because he listened to her.
わからないだろうね。
So the warning that Rika gives in chapter 4 is basically go home right now before something happens that you'll regret. And he took that to be like a threat, like, you know, get out of here, I don't want you around, you know, me or my village or my family. But it was really a go home before your wife, like, kills herself, because you won't like that, and you'll regret not having been there.
赤坂さんはもう本当に素晴らしい愛妻家さんでしてね。5年前でしたっけね。沖宮にまではるばる出張に来られたのに、入院中の奥さんのことが急に寂しくなっちゃって仕事を放り出して東京にとんぼ返りした業のものなんですよ。いやいや、愛のなせる技です。
はう、奥さんとラブラブ、なんだかちょっぴり素敵かな。
あの時リカちゃんが東京に帰らないと良くないことが起こるって言ってくれたじゃないか。どうしても不安になってね。雪江の病院に戻ったんだ。そしたらその日に屋上への階段で清掃員の事故があったって言うんだ。
The tiles on the stairs were loose. The janitor fell down the stairs and got seriously injured. I knew that was going to happen because I'd seen him lose his mind after hearing about his wife's death and a life I lived a long time ago. Falling down the stairs seemed like just the luck of the draw. I didn't think it would happen all the time, but it had happened to him over and over. So I thought there must be some kind of reason behind it. I guess it was because of the broken tiles on the stairs. He didn't show up at the hospital that day. His wife would have gone up those stairs. It was her daily routine, but she didn't go up because he showed up. Meanwhile, the janitor went up the stairs and got hurt.
だから、リカちゃんは雪江の恩人なんだ。
私はそんなバカなって言ったんですけどね。赤坂さんは女房の恩人に間違いないって言って聞かないんです。今回もあなたにぜひ会いたいって強く要望していましてね。
確かにリカってたまに予言じみたことを言いますのよね。
さすがはお社様の生まれ変わりだね。
おっといけない。もうクマちゃんも佐藤さんも来てる時間ですね。赤坂さん、ちょっと急ぎ足で参りましょうか。では前原さん、この続きはまた今度にしましょう。その時はもっと実践で使える技をご教授しますよ。
ええ、ぜひよろしくお願いします。
じゃあまたね、リカちゃん。
赤坂はいつまでこっちにいるのですか？
綿流しのお祭りまでいるつもりだよ。長すぎる夏休みだろ。有給消化率が悪すぎると庶務から怒られてね。山が一つ終わったんで室長から長期休暇を許されたんだ。お祭りにはきっと行くよ。聞くところによるとだいぶ盛大なお祭りになったんだそうだね。
そうなのですよ。赤坂の時のようなただの酒盛りではないのです。
赤坂さん、 行きましょう行きましょう。
君は雪絵の恩人だ。借りはきっと返すよ。きっと君の力になる。
I'll be killed in June of
あれから5
1983.
年、体も鍛えた。経験も積んだ。あの時のような無様な真似は絶対さらさないよ。きっと君の力になれる。
Felt like I rolled a 6 without even throwing the die. Akasaka followed Oishi and ran outside into the bright sunlight.
これも想定内の幸運なのよね。今回はいろんな運命がピカに
Honestly,
味方をしている
Samus's
としか思え
same.
ないのです。
Like, I almost slept through my meeting this morning. And then it was like 5 o'clock, and I was like, oh man, I'm so tired. So, it's not just you. I totally understand if you want to go and just like, have a cup of tea and go to bed. I totally get it.
思えばおもちゃ屋での部活の日、魚釣りゲームという運命を覆した瞬間からもう世界は変わっていた。
I mean, put it on repeat and have it as like white noise as you go to sleep.
私の戦おうという意志の強まり
My wife was like cleaning up the tabs on her phone and was literally she likes playing something, having some background noise when she sleeps. So she likes finding like essay YouTube people. It's like there are people who talk about like the history of Skyrim and stuff like that. She literally had the same like video open in 7 different tabs. My strong will is going to change my fate. If I have a strong will, I can also change these results. We rode our bikes back home together. I was in a good mood. I almost felt like humming a song. I could feel my deadly fate slowly falling to pieces. I felt like my fate was urging me to move on. Just like the sun and the moon during an eclipse, the wheels of my fortune were perfectly matched for the first time in a long time. This really might have been a miracle. This wasn't like the true miracle of Keiichi remembering the past. It was good fortune within expectations, but when it was arranged this well, it was enough to be considered a miracle. I couldn't remember the last time I felt so good in June of 1983. My name is Rika Furude. My ominous fate was moving away from me. Each step I took, that deadly fate withdrew further and further. I have to stay strong and take advantage of this miracle. I moved forward at high speed. Watsunagashi was so close. My luck and effort had brought about a miracle, and so I will defeat my fate.
今度こそ。はいと、おーなのですよ。
Next moment, something happened. Keiichi had accidentally scratched a motorcycle that was parked by the street. A group of 3 delinquents were trying to intimidate him.
大変なことになりましたのです。見てなさい。今の私の力なら、あんな連中、ひとひねりにしてやるわ。困りましたわね。おまわりさんを呼ばないといけませんわよね。大丈夫ですよ、さとこ。僕にお任せなのです。リカ？リカ？
I walked towards the delinquents, even as they grabbed Keiichi by his collar. What the hell are these pathetic guys? Are they trying to stand in my way when I'm trying to have a happy future? I should teach them that nothing can stop me now. I know I'm rolling 6 without even throwing the die. They continued to grab Keiichi's shirt. Keiichi, Mion, and Rena were staring at them with a vicious look in their eyes. I got in between them.
消え失せろ。私の運命をその程度で邪魔立てできると夢にも思うな。
I plucked his nose with my fingers again. Never expected that a little girl like me would attack him. He seemed surprised, but he quickly returned to being angry. Then he picks me up by my collar, too.
リカちゃん、やめなさいよ、話しなさい。リカ、何か策でもあるのですか？別にないわよ。でも今の私の強さならこんな障害は物の数じゃない。
How are you having this conversation when you're literally like being held up by a bully? How does no one hear
この
this?
程度の運命にも勝てない運気なら今回も死の運命になど打ち勝てるものか。
I rolled the die knowing what I was going to get. I knew that I'd be rolling a 6. Next moment, 2 men in working overalls came up to the 3 delinquents and tapped them on the shoulders.
話したった。相手は子供やんね。なんだよてめえは。俺たちは喧嘩を売られたんだぞ。お前らなんざ用はねえよ。
Those working men weren't just random people who were passing by. I knew who they were.
そっちで話そうやんね。ほらほらほら。
One of the men pushed the 3 delinquents to the side of the street. The other man spoke to me in a calm voice.
リカさん。
ありがとうなのですよ。助かりましたです。
He lent me his hand so I could
皆さ
stand
んは
up.
もう行ってください。あとは私たちが処理します。
どなたか知りませんが、ありがとうございます。
本当にお任せしちゃっても大丈夫ですか？
ええ、気にしないで。皆さんは早く行ってください。本当にありがとうございます。
うちの圭一さんが無様で申し訳ありませんわね。
じゃあ行こう、みんな。
We got back on our bikes in a hurry and left the scene. They had no idea who saved us, but they were all glad that we were safe. But I know who they were. Those must have been the security guards who worked for Takano. Takano kept her promise. Those guys are professional bodyguards. They only do what they're ordered to, but they make sure their mission is complete. Takano told them to protect me. That's the best protection I can get. I mean, it can't be that good if Takano dies all the time. After we left the scene, a white van with 2 men in it followed us. Nightingale reporting. R is moving to the safe zone. We will continue escorting her. This is Heron. Roger that. Everything was working in my favor for the first time ever. Petals seemed so light that day. Felt I could fly into the sky if I wanted to. I was going to say that was a long chapter, but I feel like we spent like the first hour and a half just talking about random stuff. Okay, we have one tip called Before the Flight, and we can make her eyes and mouth change. Alright, Samus, have a wonderful evening.
遅れんなよ。後の金は現地だ。
大きに大きに。おい、マミン。
What if you don't want to? Then you should rethink why you don't want yourself to be happy. I can understand if you don't have a good evening, but you should want it for yourself.
北条の野郎にゃ、気取られてねえだろうな。
大丈夫だよ。あいつバカだもん。
And I'm not saying I'm any, professional in any sense. If people are really honestly feeling like they don't deserve to be happy, please, by all means, find a professional to help you out with that. That's not me or just a random person on the internet.
でかいのは声と態度だけ。
そうなのかよ。
Next moment, they heard several cars coming towards them. As long as you can, like, validate their credentials, I guess, that's good. I have nothing against people who use online services, phone calls, text. Really, whatever works for you, whatever is going to get you into like a happy, healthy, and safe place is what you should be using. The man looked out of the window and saw 3 black cars screeching to a halt by the apartment building. Several intimidating men emerged from those cars. Some of them even looked up towards the window. He quickly hid himself behind the curtain.
ちくしょう、嗅ぎつけやがった。ずらかれ。ちょっと、嘘マジ？なんで今日バレるのよ。マミはボケっとすな。捕まったら殺されんぞ。
He heard the men running up the stairs. They sounded angry. Alright, so we'll save there. We'll start the next chapter. We'll see how far we get. So that was the end of chapter 4. These games usually have, I would say, 7 or 8 chapters, so we're just sort of passing the tipping point. And that, like, set up perfectly, where Rika's like, everything's going great, nothing can go wrong, like, setting all the flags of everything's perfect, and now something's probably going to go wrong. Okay, they're having some kind of club activity that they're just not narrating to us. Your Twitter is 3 years old today? Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that you're on, 22 months? It's scary to me to think that in 2 months, I'll have been a Twitch affiliate for 2 years. That's a scary thought to me. It was a very humid day. Not even a slight breeze was blowing. It had been an unpleasant summer, one that wasn't only hot, but swelteringly so. There were several various articles of clothing hung out to dry in the messy apartment windows. The lack of wind evoked an impression far removed from coolness. In fact, it only felt more oppressive. Yes, that is also very scary, that you've been subbed since the beginning. I don't know if it was you, but I'm pretty sure some people, like, subbed to me before that, like, first, like, stream as an affiliate, because it was like, oh, I can sub now, and then I can claim it when they're online. There were crooked houses and apartments lining the narrow, twisting road. In addition, there were planters and flower pots whose contents were beginning to rot, as well as bicycles and cars on the side of the road, making it even more cramped, more oppressive, and all the more sweltering. Could very well be true. Nobody who was in this place at the time was visiting it voluntarily. In spite of what everyone might expect, a single motorcycle came rolling in. The motorcycle stopped in front of a 2-story apartment, one that could hardly be called neat, even as flattery. A man, fairly old and wrinkled, stepped off. When a nearby neighbor, hanging out the laundry, noticed him, he called out. Okay, I have to check. Do we have... We don't have art for any of these people yet.
暑いね。こんな暑いとゆだっちまってかなねえよ。
Suddenly, I got goosebumps all over my body. Felt like something bad was about to happen for no reason. Everyone gets this feeling in a different way. Some people get a twitch in their eyelids or some kind of movement in their ears. In my case, I get goosebumps. Okay, so Eureka. Satoko was supposed to be cooking dinner tonight. We didn't have much left inside the refrigerator, so I asked her to go grocery shopping. I was just watching TV and relaxing while I waited for her. She was usually back by the time my cartoon was over, after which she'd start cooking dinner. Could you imagine? So she's been alive for 100 years worth of lifetimes. Surely they're playing the same cartoon, like the same episode every time, yet she's still watching it. After 100 years of watching the same cartoon, you probably know like all of them, like word for word. My cartoon was over. The news had started, and Satoko wasn't home yet. Satoko sometimes waited until they had a sale at the store. In that case, she'd usually come home late. That must be what was happening. It was too early for me to start worrying about her. But, I can't explain this feeling. I can't explain it, but I feel extremely worried. Once I started feeling like that, I couldn't just sit in the room and wait for her.
Hanyu, iru?
I thought she might know where Satoko might be. She's never around when I need her. Hanyu is not with me 24 hours a day. She sometimes falls asleep. Sometimes she goes out for walks. So in her case, it's not a walk, but more like a stalk. She follows people around when she finds someone interesting, and she enjoys observing them. Anyway, I had no choice. I'd have to find Satoko on my own. If Hanyu can do that, why isn't she using her time effectively to go and search? She's a ghost. She can do whatever the heck she wants. I had a good idea of which stores Satoko goes to. Should check those first. We're in Hinamizawa. If I asked people, they'd tell me where she went.
あれ、リカちゃまでねですかい。ありがたや、ありがたや。
ニパー、それより今日、サトコが買い物に来なかったですか？
さとこちゃんの顔は見てないね。私がずっとお店番してたから、来れば見てるんだけどね。
I didn't even have time to say thanks. I ran to the next door. People were greeting me and waving at me. I'd usually smile and greet them back, but I had no time for that at the moment. Satoko, Satoko, Satoko. I need Satoko in my life. I was able to survive for so long because of her support. Without her, this world would be so empty and boring. Satoko is nonchalant and optimistic, unlike me. I've learned so many things from her over the past 100 years, but I still need to learn more from her.
Satoko! Satoko!
People stared at me as I ran by them, screaming out her name. I didn't care what they thought, though. Satoko! Why are they looking at me like that? I'm looking for Satoko. Somebody tell me where she is. My heart was convulsing inside my body like a fish out of the water. What little stamina I have. I hate my body for being so young. I went to a few different places, but I still couldn't find her anywhere. The people I talked to gave me advice on where to go, but I couldn't find her in any of the places they suggested. I continued to run, looking for her. I continued to run even when I bumped into people.
さあ、どうだろう。夕方は人がたくさん来るから覚えちゃいないかもしらん。
There are only a few places in Hinamizawa where we can go grocery shopping. It shouldn't be that difficult to find her, so why couldn't I? Wow. I tripped on something in the street and fell flat on the ground. I injured my hand on a small rock embedded in the ground. I didn't feel much pain even though I said ow. It just felt hot, as if I'd touched a frying pan. Suddenly, someone handed me a pretty handkerchief.
大丈夫？怪我とかしなかったかな？レナ、サトコを見なかったですか？
Rena was carrying a grocery bag. I heard that Satoko bumps into Rena often when she goes grocery shopping. They tend to choose the same stores.
サトコちゃんを？今日は見てないよ。サトコちゃんがお買い物の日だったの？そうです。会っていませんですか？わからないな。今日がサトコちゃんのお買い物の日なら、絶対にスーパーひなみざわの特売日を逃さないと思うもん。でも、レナもスーパーにいたけど、会わなかったし。
My brain wasn't getting enough oxygen. It took me a while to understand what Rena was talking about. I understood that Rena didn't see Satoko, but that wasn't the point. They had a huge sale in the market today. There's no way Satoko would miss that sale. But she still didn't see her there? What was that supposed to mean?
何かあったの？さとこちゃん、お財布とか家の鍵でも忘れちゃったかな？
I couldn't find the right words to explain. Should I tell her I feared something bad had happened to Satoko and that's why I was looking for her? No, I couldn't do that. I couldn't think too deeply about why she hadn't returned home.
どうしたの？困ってるなら力になるよ。話して。
I knew she was just trying to help me. I even thought I needed someone to help me just a few moments before, but now that she was here, I had no idea what I was supposed to say. No, that's not it. Truth is, I know. Somehow I know. I wouldn't have to know if I was someone else. But I have to know this. Rikafurude has to know what's going on. I know it. I remember it. I knew this was coming. I'd experienced a world before where Satoko suddenly disappeared. But the possibility for that happening is as low as Akasaka showing up in Hinamizawa. It only happened randomly in my other lives. This is not the first time. It happened before, too. I should see it for myself. I needed to see if I'd gotten stuck inside a devastating world again. Alright, take care, Samuses.
ごめんなさいです。さよなら。あ、リカちゃん。
I started running. I couldn't pretend like I didn't know where she was. Please don't tell me that I was blessed only up to this point, that I'm about to fall back into my unfortunate fate from here on. I thought that this world was different, that I could move on to a happy future. I thought I would be able to defeat my deadly fate in this life. But this was just horrible. It was horrible that this was happening to this world. I was standing in front of the place that I hate the most in Hinamizawa. Yes, it's Satoko's real home, Hojo residence. I've been living with her since last fall, so this house was empty. In the beginning, she used to come back here to pick up her clothing and other necessities. Once she moved most of her stuff to my house, Satoko stayed away from this place. This was a sad place for Satoko because all she could remember of it was the horrible time she spent with her uncle and aunt, the memory of her missing brother, Satoshi. That's why she never wanted to come back here. That wasn't the reason I hate the house. Because I know what happens whenever this house becomes an issue in my life. Oh God, please. Please bless me with just one more fortune. I closed my eyes and prayed, then I slowly opened them. The window was open on the second floor. I saw a faded curtain swinging inside. As soon as I saw that, my knees realized what was going on, even before my mind processed it. Next moment, I lost strength in my legs and collapsed on the ground. I saw an unfamiliar motorcycle parked by the house. I also saw laundry and a futon hanging outside. I was certain that someone was living here. It was proof that someone was living inside this house. It's never good when there's someone living inside this house. This was very, very bad. I knew exactly why. I knew why, but I felt like I wanted to act like I didn't know.
Rika?
So, I know I did trigger warnings at the start, but I'm going to do this again. What happens here to Satoko involves fairly heavy and realistic child abuse. If that is something that is uncomfortable for you, we're probably going to be discussing it, hearing it, and seeing it. I don't know if we will tonight, but definitely going forward. And I get that's not for everyone, so please, if that's something that bothers you greatly, I mean, child abuse should bother you greatly, but if it's triggering to you, then please, by all means, find somewhere else for you to have a better experience this evening. Satoko went outside to take the futon in and noticed me.
Rika?
Satoko looked down and forced herself to smile. I felt so sad. It wasn't just her expression. I could tell her left cheek was red and swollen.
サトコ、こんなとこにいないで、お家へ帰りましょうです。
I took her hand, but she looked down without squeezing back.
リカ、私、今日からこっちの家で暮らそうと思いますの。どうしてなのですか？私のおじさんが帰ってきましたの。それで、こっちの家で一緒に暮らそうって話になりまして。サトコは、そんなの望んでないはずなのです。意地悪なおじさんなんかと一緒に住んで楽しいはずがないのです。でも、どうしようもありませんわ。リカの家へ帰っても連れ戻されるだけですもの。リカに迷惑がかかってしまいますわ。
She gave up with a sad smile. She looked exactly how she looked 1 year ago in 1982. Her uncle only slapped her face when she's going back to being the Satoko from 1982. Cheerful Satoko that I knew until yesterday could no longer be found. I took care of Satoko and tried to heal her wounded heart for over a year. She finally got her smile back, but her uncle took it all away with just one slap to her face. A broken soul can recover over time. Her damaged heart can never be fixed completely. I just took the broken pieces and put them back together. The cracks in her heart will always be there. That's why she wouldn't come with me, no matter how hard I tried to pull her hand. She couldn't get over the fear. I knew just how scary her uncle could be.
Satoko! なんねほったらかん。どこ行きよんね。
I heard a disgusting voice from inside the house. Satoko stared at the ground. Her shoulders were shaking.
あ？なんじゃよ、それは。
He came out and stood right behind her.
なんでもありませんの。お友達と会っただけですのよ。
したらんどうでもええんねん。それよか風呂け。磨かんかい風呂け。わしは風呂に入りたいしちゃったな、こら。
Satoko scampered back inside the house like a terrified small animal. I felt devastated as I watched her go.
遊びの約束だったかい。すまんの。ちょいとサトコは家の片付けで忙しいんよ。わしはサトコのおじなんねん。ちょっと長いこと出張に出とってん。ようやくひなみ沢に戻ってきたわけなんよ。
Liar. He only showed back because his lover went missing. In another world, I once let my hatred out on him. But then he inflicted that anger in equal turn onto Satoko, so I couldn't allow the dark flame burning within my chest to reflect in my eyes. Since I couldn't make myself smile and I couldn't insult him, all I could do was give him a short bow and run away from the scene.
なんね、泣く子も黙るわしのガンにビビってもうたんかいね。
I heard his hideous laughter from behind me. I cried as I ran away. I couldn't stop crying. I thought this was a perfect world up until today. Why was God doing this to me? It was too cruel. But I couldn't give up yet. I couldn't do anything, but I still had hope for this world. I didn't think the luck I had until yesterday was just a random thing. I went back to my house in a hurry. I needed to make a phone call. I didn't know the number because it was my first time calling the place. I looked inside the phone book and found it easily. I made a call to that number.
これはどうもどうも。フルデさんからお電話をいただけるなんて思いませんでした。何かございました？
I already knew that Oishi could never save Satoko based on what I've seen in my previous lives. For him, Satoko is only a good way to get at the Sonozaki family. Her uncle is probably his prey in that regard, too. Even if I talked to him about her situation, he would never do anything to save her. The only thing he would tell me would be to call the Child Consultation Center.
赤坂とお話ししたいのですが、いますですか？
赤坂さんですか？温泉行ってますよ。和倉温泉。
Wakura? It's not anywhere near here. Thought he was staying here until what,
何
Nagashi?
でも温泉宿をやってる親類にご厄介になれるとかだそうで。いやいや、羨ましいことです。え？和倉ですか？石川県ですよ。能登半島の。
No way. Told him that he was staying here until what, Nagashi? I thought he meant staying in Hinamizawa. Did he actually mean staying in this area of the country in general?
赤坂と連絡は取れませんですか？
That was a meaningless question. There's no way I could get him to come here while he's enjoying his trip with his wife. Even if I can talk to him on the phone, he'll probably only tell me to call the child consultation center or something.
お泊まりの旅館は聞いてませんしね。ものすごい高級旅館だって言ってたから、多分某有名なあそこだろうなとは思うんですがね。まあ最近の宿はガードが固いから部屋番号も知ってないと繋いでくれませんしね。
わかりました。でも赤坂は綿流しのお祭りに来るとは言ってませんでしたか？
そうです。こちらへは能登への行きと帰りに滞在されるんですよ。だから先日も一泊されてくつろがれた後すぐ立たれました。だから綿流しの直前にまたこちらへ戻ってきて滞在されると思います。あなたにお土産を買ってくると言ってましたよ。
How terrible. Thought it was too good to be true. And it was kind of strange for him to stay in a boring place like this. My luck seems to be turning. This might not be a surprise, though. Just like I can roll a 6 3 times in a row, I can roll a 1 3 times in a row, too. Happy things and unhappy things can happen with equal probability.
もしもし、何か伝言があるなら会った時に伝えておきますよ。
Looked at the calendar on the wall. I didn't know when he was coming back, but I was certain he wouldn't be for at least one more week. I thought back to my past to try and remember what happened. That guy will break Satoko apart in 1 week. I couldn't wait that long. I had to give up on seeking help from Akasaka. Well, that's okay. I still had one more option. One more person I could rely on.
いえ、いなければいいのです。ありがとうですよ、おいにぱー。
I hung up the phone after thanking him. I couldn't make a phone call to the next person. I'd have to talk to him in person. I put on my shoes and headed to the Irie clinic. Clinic's hours were over for the day. There was usually no one here after that. However, since Tomitake was here, they should still be inside the building for a meeting. They had to be there. The front door of the clinic was locked as I expected. I went around to the back door and rang the bell. The whole clinic was nervous when Tomitake is around. They usually ignore visitors, but I'm special.
どうしましたか？緊急の要件と聞きました。
私まで用とあっては穏やかな話ではなさそうね。
Irie and Takano showed up after I was taken to the visitors' room. Rikafurude has an emergency, then it was a priority for these two people. I'm the most important person in this village.
ひょっとして誰かに狙われているという。
あなたの近辺は常時山犬の中でも特に優秀な連中が警護してくれているわ。あなたとあの日した約束をちゃんと守っているわよ。
I had no doubt about that. They saved me right away when we'd had that confrontation with those 3 delinquents the other day.
そうではないのです。実は聡子の危機を救ってあげてほしいのです。
聡子ちゃんに何かあったんですか？
Irie doesn't have that much power alone, even if he really wants to save her. But Takano controls the mountain dog, so she does have that power. My previous lives, I was never able to get help from the mountain dogs because I wasn't on good terms with Takano. But this world is different. I have a better relationship with her in this life. She even kept the promise she made. I trust their ability completely now.
あの北条哲平さんがですか？なんてことでしょう。
It was mainly Satoko's aunt who was abusing her last year, but Irie knows that her uncle was violent with her too. Told him that Satoko had gone back to the same condition she was in the
この
previous
ままで
year.
はいつ何があるのかわかりませんです。聡子を助け出すために力を貸してほしいのです。
Irie seemed to want to do something for her, but he didn't know exactly what to do.
こういうのはどうする？やはり警察に相談した方がいいでしょうか。
さて、どうかしら？現時点では何も起きていないわけでしょ？
そんなのは時間の問題なのです。このままでは大変なことになってしまうのです。
I hate to say it's only a matter of time. I knew how she was going to get abused and how she was going to end up. I've seen it in the past. I really wanted to tell them about it, but I couldn't do that. It hasn't happened in this world yet. They'd think I was just imagining it.
多分、こういうのはまず、沖宮の生活相談所に訴えるのが先じゃないかしら？
そういえば以前、さとこちゃんが児童相談所に虚偽の通報をしたなんてことがありましたね。ちゃんと話を聞いてくれるといいのですが。
The answer is no. My friends contacted the Child Consultation Center several times in the past. Satoko always refuses their help. She claims that she isn't being abused. The Satoko from 1983 might have asked for their help, but currently, she was the Satoko from 1982. For her, living with her uncle reminds her of the time when Satoshi was around. She feels like Satoshi will come back if she can live strongly without always relying on her brother. Even if the Child Consultation Center were to take the case seriously, it's just too late. I tried to remember. The most recent world I experienced it only took a few days after Satoko was kidnapped by her uncle. It only took a few days for him to tear her heart apart. We had no time to waste. We needed to take action quickly.
さとこちゃん自身が助けを求めてくれないことには助けようがないのが悔しいです。
入江先生の方から警察やお役所に連絡することもできるとは思うけど、そこまでが限界ね。気の毒とは思うけど。
違うのです。高野の力で里子を助け出してほしいのです。
Irie and Takano looked shocked, and both went quiet. They didn't expect me to seek help from
それ
Takano.
は強硬的な手段に訴えろということですか？
僕はそういうお願いをしに今日ここへ来ていますのです。そうでなければこんな時間に押しかけたりしませんです。
お気持ちはわかります。ですが、
入江、里子を大事に思うならどうか一生のお願いなのです。里子を助けてくださいなのです。里子はあと何日もしないうちに本当にひどいことになってしまいます。それは決まっていることなのです。もうしばらく様子を見てみようでは見殺しにするのと全く同じなのです。入江は去年の里子をもう忘れてしまったのですか？もうそうなっているのです。今この瞬間にも。そしてあと数日で取り返しのつかないことになってしまうのです。
All I could do was stare at him, believing that Irie could see the future only I knew, the tragic end awaiting Satoko reflected in my eyes. Irie remained silent for too long a time to call brief. Someone trying to think of some excuse to avoid the issue wouldn't go silent that long. He was recalling Satoko's terrible state last year and seriously considering if my plea was as urgent as I made it out to be. I know that he really cares about her. That's why I need his help.
どうしようかしらね。
Irie nodded and looked up. I guess he'd finally come to a conclusion. I just hope it's a positive one.
リカちゃんの頼みを聞いてあげてください。
入江、
去年、さとこちゃんに何の手も差し伸べられなかった無力さに悩んだことがあります。これは、その時傍観して手を尽くさなかった私が罪を滅ぼす唯一のチャンスだと思います。
しかし、そうはおっしゃいますけれど。
Takano didn't think that Irie would make that decision. She seemed shocked to hear his
当施設の
response.
責任者として、正式に高野さんにお願いしたいと思います。さとこちゃんをどうか助けてあげてください。
入江先生、助けるという言葉がどういう意味か少しわかりかねます。どうか落ち着いてください。
さとこちゃんは我々にとって欠かすことのできない存在です。 これまでも、そしてこれからも、我々の研究に最大限貢献するでしょう。本件は、高野さんの職務に含まれるものとお察しします。
Irie continued, though Takano tried to
所
persuade
長、
him.
入江京介としてお願いいたします。高野さん、どうか里子ちゃんを救ってください。
I stared into Takano's eyes together with
高野
him.
も聡子と仲良しだったはずです。どうか聡子の友人として助けてあげてくださいです。
助けてくださいという言い方がお二人とも実に偽善的ね。それはつまり叔父の方を何とかせよというご命令ですわよね。
卑怯な言い方をすれば、要請に対しどう対処するかを決定する権限が
I mean, we're all for killing uncles here.
でもそれが卑怯ならば、私がはっきりそれを口にしても構いません。
入江先生、いえ、入江所長、そのご命令を実行すれば、私は無論、そして入江所長も責任を問われることになりますが、その覚悟は終わりですか？
I looked at his face. Unlike me, Irie has many things to lose. I knew that Takano's words would shake him emotionally. However, Irie was determined.
構いません。申し開きをする場へ引き出されても、自身の心を裏切るよりはるかにマシです。
左門がどういうものかもご存じないのに、大した虚勢だことで。
高野さんが上手にやってくだされば、東京に知られずに済みます。それで誰もが円満に決着できませんか？
リスクばかりで見返りのない仕事ね。
高野が望むなら、神社の宝物を他にもたくさん見せてあげますです。もう見せるのを意地悪したりしないです。だから、今回だけ助けてほしいのです。
The risk she's taking is larger than the reward I'm offering. That's about the only thing I can offer her. I don't care about the traditions of the Furude Shrine as long as I can save my friend from her suffering.
わかりました。これじゃ、私が悪者みたいだものね。
She forced a smile and accepted the favor I asked her for.
高野さん。
どういう風に助けるかは一任いただきます。具体的なプランは後でお好みと相談します。
後ではダメです。今でないとダメなのです。
She promised to save Satoko, but she still wasn't motivated for it. It'd be too late if she didn't do something right now. I tried to make Takano understand that this is an urgent matter.
そうですね。リカちゃんも、そして私も、今この場でしっかり納得のいく決着がつくことを願っています。こんな時間にせかして申し訳ありませんが、どうかお願いできませんか？
二人とも、聡子ちゃんのこととなると目の色が違うんだから、少し待たせるかもしれませんがお待ちください。
無理を聞いてくれて。
いいえいいえ、私の給与査定者の頼みですもの。笑顔でお引き受けいたしますわ。リカちゃんはさっきの約束、絶対に忘れないでよ。
きっとなのです。神社に来た時は、おまんじゅうとお茶もつけますのです。
Anna smiled slightly and left the room. Once we finally heard her footsteps fade away, the tension in the room dissolved. Irie offered me something to drink, but I refused. He must have thought that everything was taken care of, but I couldn't relax until Satoko was physically returned to me.
聡子ですが、お薬とかは大丈夫なのですか？おじは、聡子が逃げ出すと思って、家から出さないと思いますから、もうここへ来ることはできないと思います。
幸いなことに、先週まとめて針と薬を渡してあります。ですので、しばらくは問題ないでしょう。ただ、強い精神負担は薬でも抑えきれません。少しずつ追い詰められ、いつか取り返しのつかないことになるでしょう。
そのいつかというのは、ほんの数日後の話なのです。
Takano hadn't come back yet. Thought it would be bad news if she came back too early. I started feeling nervous after she'd taken so long. Irie insisted that I go home because it was getting very late. I couldn't go home and relax, however, until I'd heard from her that everything was taken care of. I had to wait for her to come back. I needed to deal with this tension until then. Over an hour later, Takano finally returned.
お待たせ。
ああ、いかがでしたか？
But I think we'll find out how it goes next time.